What's up guys, as you saw the Warlock exotic helmet was disabled, which makes me very sad. But today I'm going to show off a Warmind cell build on Titan that might actually be way better than my Warlock one. It's so good that I've actually been maining Titan for the past week, even before the Warlock helmet got disabled. And I saw a bunch of people using that build and then adding me on Twitter when they disabled it. So I definitely wanted to get out this video and show you guys another awesome build to use to replace that one for now until they re-enable that exotic. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first we're going to start on Bottom Tree Striker, which is going to have a lot of melee type buffs on it. Then we're going to use Skull Fort for infinite melee charges. Then finally the last thing we're going to be using is Tyrant Surge for the basic build. That will allow us to get Warmind cells on any arc ability damage. So pretty much how this build works at its core is you use your arc melee to proc Warmind cell. Then you get your arc melee back instantly because of Skull Fort. So it's pretty much an infinite chain. And one thing that makes Bottom Tree Striker work really well with this build is even if you don't have your charge melee, you proc knockout by getting something low, and it turns all of your melees into arc melees, which means you can proc more cells, then also get your charge back because of Skull Fort. So it's truly infinite arc melees with this build. Then we also have knockout on this tree, which means critically wounding an enemy or breaking their shields increases your melee range and damage. Also, every melee kill on this tree will also trigger health regeneration. Then finally, the most important one, Frontal Assault. When you strike an enemy with your charged melee, you reload your equipped weapon, then also get increased weapon damage. So looking at that increase on the damage, first we hit 22-21. Now we go ahead and proc Frontal Assault. We now hit 26-65, which is going to be a 20% buff, which is actually going to be very nice with this build because we're going to have that 20% pretty much forever. And as you saw, we're also using a Swashbuckler hand cannon in our kinetic slot. That way, every time we get a melee kill to get a Warmind cell, we also proc Swashbuckler times 5, which means we can one hit the Warmind cell, which is very cool and makes it a lot more efficient. So what other mods we're using? Of course, we're going to be using Global Reach, which will increase the radius of the explosions and also the effects of Warmind cells. We also have Thunder Coil on our class item. That way we have increased arc melee damage. Then we'll also be using Warmind's Protection, which means enemies near Warmind cells that are glowing orange will do less damage to you. Then finally, one of the new mods, Power Rasputin, which is the same thing as Protection, but now we do more weapon damage versus the enemies are glowing orange. So first with Protection, looking at what it does, a lot of people have said it's roughly 50%, which I definitely believe, if not even higher. When they're glowing orange, they do like no damage to you, which is very nice. Now looking at the Power Rasputin, the same thing, when they're glowing orange, you're going to do more damage. Now we hit 24-43, which is going to be a 10% increase, which isn't much, but let's go ahead and see if it stacks with our buffs in the game. Usually buffs do not stack right now, but as you see, we hit that 22-21. Now we proc both Frontal Assault and the Warmind cell. We hit 29-32, which is going to be a 32% increase, which is exactly 1.2 times 1.1. So not only are they stacking, they're multiplying against each other like normal. And the other thing is they also stack with debuffs. So this is not being treated as a buff or debuff in the game. It's just simply an increase to damage. So it does stack with all the other things that you expect it to stack with. So that means we have a really good DPS build going on where we can provide ourselves with a very high buff. So we can use Fourth Horseman. And also another one that works really well is the new grenade launcher with Swashbuckler, the only one in the game. So pretty much what you can do for DPS is either hit the boss with your melee to proc Frontal Assault, then also the Warmind cell and get that 32% increase, and use Fourth Horseman to melt them, and that works really well versus champions and things like that. Or we can do is melee something nearby. That way you get the Warmind cell to spawn in, but then you still have your charged melee to reload your Fourth Horseman halfway through and get off 2 magazines without having to reload. Also with the GL, you pretty much do the same thing. You just get a times 5 Swashbuckler, proc the Warmind cell, then you have that huge 32% buff, then also times 5 on your grenade launcher. So this build is absolutely amazing. You have something for everything in the game. You have amazing ad clear with the Warmind cells and one hitting them with your Swashbuckler primary. And because of the way Bottom Tree and Skull Fort works, you have infinite melee charges, which means you have infinite buffs of Frontal Assault, infinite knockout, you have infinite everything. Then you have 2 really strong DPS options, one close range and one kind of medium to far range, where you can leave the Warmind cell on the ground instead of exploding it and get that 10% buff of Power Rasputin, then also have things do less damage to you. So there's really not too much to say about this build. I truly think it's way better than the old Warlock build. And for the first time in like 2 or 3 years now, when I log in, I don't just auto pick Warlock, and I'm actually picking Titan every single time if I'm playing PvE. Like, this build is good in every single activity I've thrown it at, The ad clear is absolutely insane. You pretty much have a Warmind cell on demand whenever you want, and being able to one hit it with your swashbuckler hand cannon is amazing. You hit the Warmind cell when it's still floating in the sky before it hits the ground, which means it's gonna have a better chance of hitting everything nearby. Then when you get to champions or bosses, you leave the Warmind cells on purpose to get that increased damage and also get that damage reduction, which helps greatly with champions. Like, I've been running through legendary lost sectors, and the champions are so easy to solo with this build, it's actually crazy. Then when you get to a boss, you can either do like 2 magazines of Fourth Horseman in a row, or you can do 2 magazines with your grenade launcher. Anyways, for all the people that have been using my warlock build, unfortunately that one is kind of ruined until they re-enabled exotic, but this one is definitely better and will hold us through until that point. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this build. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.